All right, ladies and gents, we're going to bypass all the waiting around. We're just going to get straight into it. Finally, we can get live between Na'Vi and Heroic in this best of one in the DreamHack Winter 2017 matchup. And it's going to be Snappy claiming first blood as Simple goes down, a whole bunch of terrorists up in his face.
Yeah, it distracted maybe towards that man on Fountain, thinking maybe it was just the one player there and there was a setup towards that B site, but Electronic actually gets peeled off of his push through monsters. So now 2 frags going the way of Heroic and a 5 versus 3. This is going to be one of those fantastic opportunities to just regroup, re-aggress, and use the numbers advantage to overwhelm what's left of Na'Vi.
It's definitely on the cards right now as Heroic are congregating just outside of the T-spawn. Pop flash into peek for Flame. He's going to spot nothing. There's still so much time left. Doesn't really give them any idea as to what's about to come up against them. Zeus may see a couple of plays, and that could give this away. Yeah, definitely has now. Expect to see the fast rotations from the other 2 players. It's really how long can Zeus survive for, and the answer is not too much longer. All up to Flamey. There's one, but no more for his endeavors. And now Edward in a 1-on-4. Has USP, has Kevlar, but nothing else. Maybe able to get a player as they straggle off the site, but I mean, this is looking almost impossible. We said the same thing about Sticko though, and we saw how that ended up. There's the first, 3 more to go.
A little fresh mag, 12 shots, unsuspectingly man up close, will take him. Snappy makes the most of it. 3 players up at the end, and Heroic with a fantastic pistol round. Again, they exploit that fast connector control straight up into the face of Simple. He never sees it coming, drawn in by the tantalizing headshot that was over towards the back of Playground. And then from there, again, removing Electronic. I mean, nice move by Na'Vi to try to regain some territory by pushing him forward, but ultimately just losing 2 players straight away. And then Heroic, they still had utility to execute with. So they had everything going their way once they hit that 5 versus 3. But can they get past the CZs? We know they are deadly.
Yeah, 5 of them in total. Not skimping out on a single player. Does mean no kits, but 2 smokes in play as well. And in connector, the CZ is just so powerful. But Simple is going to start to move out into the crosshairs of Snappy, who will dispatch of him with his AK. Only the 1 MAC-10 and 1 UMP in place. So Heroic have gone for a heavy investment in terms of assault rifles, and so far it's paid off.
Clearing out their corners as well through connector, ensuring that nobody else had pushed up. When in fact, the most aggressive position being held by Na'Vi is going to be the man in short water. It's of course Nico to start clearing players out of the washrooms, but Edward does still reside here. Man to his back could clear him out, and in fact it's EC tag with the kill. Now at this point, Flamey's position could be left lackluster if they do just continue charging towards that A site. Electronic finding a gunfight will finish 1, but 7 HP means he's done, and so is this round. Heroic ensuring their bomb plant, and Flamey ensuring that he keeps his stuff into the next one.
Yep. Also, additionally, doesn't want to give away any more kill reward to Heroic, especially the likes of Moddy's MAC-10. So it's dual purpose. Flamey getting the hell out of that, and a good start for Heroic. And you know, this is really what we were talking about before, where if Heroic were going to come out and win this and cause the upset, they had to start strong. They had to continue in that kind of form. So you're expecting that they're going to take a 3-0 lead. You expect they're going to sweep aside Na'Vi in the next one. So a lot of pressure then on that first rifle round on the horizon now for Na'Vi.
Early indicator as well is that both Flamey and Electronic have been the men dedicated to that B site early on, right? So I raised the question whether or not they were going to keep that form from their most recent event, and sure enough, the positioning's mirrored. Which means it's really just that B site, which is the most unknown entity on the CT side of Na'Vi, but we'll have plenty of rounds to test that. Possibly this one as well. Heroic, again, up against unarmored opponents, could stampede their way towards the B site.
Uh-oh. They have had a technical pause. I'm hoping, I'm praying that to Gaben, directly to Gaben himself, that it's not the same issue.
You can always send your woes to CSGO Dev.
Sure will.
Responsive folk.
We'll update you guys as soon as we know what's going on. At the moment, it does seem like it's going to be they did say sec in chat, so it doesn't suggest it's necessarily the worst of issues. I'm hoping. I'm trying to look at the positives here.
The positives are that we have an entire weekend of fantastic Counter-Strike ahead of us, Vince.
There you go. We sure do. And judging how this has started, this could be a cracker of a map. You know, Heroic came out all guns blazing.
Yeah. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for much more of a showing and kind of an even keel between these two teams, because obviously we had a massive gap in, well, I guess you could argue skill and just accomplishment in our opening 2 maps of the day. But Heroic versus Na'Vi, and especially in a BO1, right? We know Heroic can create those upsets. This one was painted to be a beautiful picture.
Well, I think it's definitely fair to say there was a gulf in skill between the 2 first matches. This one is a lot closer, in my opinion, especially with Na'Vi still finding their way with Electronic joining the roster. And Heroic do have a lot to offer. Again, just waiting to find out exactly what's going on. Seems like the players are pretty relaxed at the very least. Not seeing any headsets taken off. That's normally when you know that bad things are about to happen, so I'm holding on to that dream.
I thought as you said that, Edward was about to like just reach up and take them off.
Yep.
But yeah, no. If everyone's sitting and everyone has headphones on, then it's a good sign. And like you said, it was a 1 sec called in chat.
There's not much to break down, really. You know, normally when you have these kind of timeouts, you've had maybe half a map, you can really dissect and dissolve what's been happening. But we've literally seen a pistol round, which started well for Heroic. They got the opening pick and then they played it slow and just played it perfectly on B site. And then we saw a pretty aggressive push against CZs and they came out ahead. So there's not really much to break down other than, as you say, you were curious about a couple of how the setups would come on from Na'Vi, but not much else to say, really. Right, they are calling the unpause. Good news. You love to see that.
You absolutely do. You absolutely do, Vince.
And the HFs as well, just for good measure. Here we go, ladies and gents. Back into the fray, and okay, Na'Vi have gone for a force.
They've been doing this as of late, actually, as well. Kind of offering up the first 5 rounds in really weird force buy fashions, which is curious, because it obviously puts them at a bit of a disadvantage. But every game I've watched them do this, they've then come back from, whether it be Overpass or Inferno. The buy trends of Na'Vi lately have just been very aggressive, trying to create a lot of opportunities with just these pistols. And while they had some early utility, they've already gone ahead and thrown that out. They delayed what could have been a rapid B push by putting 4 players there as well, almost hoping, of course, that Heroic were trying to charge forward. But in fact, Heroic, they're taking their time. Clearing out long A, definitely making the most of the 3 rifles they've invested into this round. And I feel like once they have positioning towards either bomb site, it's at that moment that we're going to watch the SMGs throw out their utility and really charge down that gap.
And the worrying thing for me is if roles reversed and Na'Vi on the T side, the constant force buys would make a little bit more sense, but they're putting themselves into such a sketchy position as Moddy's gone for a double. I mean, this could easily just move into sort of 4 or 5-0 territory, as you just highlighted before. Simple, being forced back from the site into bank. Not the greatest movement's going to cost him 61 health. You can almost see the disappointment on his face. He knows that he just cost himself dearly there. Not that it may really end up mattering in the grand scheme of things. It's still a 3-on-5 with pistols up against full weapons with a bomb plant to boot. And yeah, Na'Vi want no further part in this round. They're just backing off to save. With the exception of Simple, of course. He doesn't play by the rules.
No, of course not. He has a different rule set altogether.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, you've still got Moddy all the way back towards T-spawn, hiding outside the club. And Electronic, well, he thinks he's safe, but in reality, he's on full display. But with a CZ versus low HP, he will find his kill. Yugi catching Simple still takes it down to 2. And Edward, the next parting gift here, as Heroic send him packing, and only Electronic moves forward. So when all of a sudden you've got 3 players on Kevlar and Pistol, the next round looks still contestable. At this point, not so much.
Yeah, at this point, you got Mac 10 and the CZ. They can drop. But Mac 10 up against full armor is never a great endeavor to partake in. So as Eustace gone for another force, he's down to 1900, just below it. Or more of a half buy, I should say, alongside Flamey. They do have round loss bonus coming up, though, so they could afford a pretty decent buy in the next round. But again, it's effectively giving away a 4-0 cushion to Heroic, which does make me a little bit nervous on the CT side of Overpass.
Again, something that they've been toying with. Maybe Na'Vi are trying to make a meta shift here, realizing the strength of pistols coming in. Again, for the first 5 rounds, they'll opt to do this. I mean, again, reinvesting with Zeus, sure. Round loss bonus is great and all, but it's not going to leave him with a pretty buy, and spotting the man on the top side means they were, in fact, on the stack, and Madi not only getting the first kill, but damaging the second. Zeus left to fall back, will linger on as Madi holds the flank, and we watch Heroic start to push their way through washrooms, but there's actually 3 CTs just on the other side, and they've got this forward positioning to try and work with.
Move into a crossfire. Unfortunately, Simple only has a USP. Obviously, he wants to get that AWP as soon as possible. Sees that at this kind of range is devastating. There's a pop flash just past the flower bed, allowing Yugi to go for a peek with his AWP. I think he may have caught a glimpse of the player on bank. But again, it's really about that double stack on Bathroom that could really wreck Heroic here. There's the first kill, but Edward's not able to escape, and Electronic's not able to avenge his fallen comrade either. Yugi, they line up for him, and he was so close to knocking them both down with the CZ. But Na'Vi actually have the player advantage here, and time is starting to get scarce. Heroic have got to make moves.
That move's going to be straight down towards the B site. Madi, having stuck around towards Connector, gets that opening as they get confirmation. Everyone's towards A. And Snappy will take his bomb plant. So Na'Vi have actually used these pistols justifiably to create an opportunity, but can they run away with the round? That's what's up next. And Snappy will watch their backside, being aware, of course, that Bathroom's flank would have easily been established. Door will have to wide swing, and that is the SMG. It's the tagged up Galil and AWP of both Zeus and Simple that leaves Na'Vi in a tough spot, and especially with Madi lurking like this. He's allowed both players to cross by. Electronic getting his hands on short, now has to clutch versus Madi, who already has 3 frags and created this opportunity, but the bomb's not planted for him. Electronic doesn't have a kit, and as he stampedes in, he goes down. But time the issue.
Yep, no time. He's looking for an AWP, I think, or just to save now. He will be able to keep a hold of the AK-47. But Heroic moved to 4-0. And of course, they're totally fine with rebuying now. They have a whole bunch of cash to move into. Na'Vi have a bunch of their own, but they've got to start getting in winning ways here on Overpass CT side. It's going to be a double AWP setup, Simple and Flamey. No AWPs for Heroic, they're going for full AKs.
Simple wants that mid peek, he had the great spawn for it. Timing will work out in his hand as Nico now rounds it, but dodging the flashbang. Unsure now if players have crossed. There's the stack from Flamey finding the first frag to EC tag. So the dual op setup with early peaks gets them the opening they needed, and now Electronic's going to commit to the cubby as Zeus stops the man up short. Great headshot, and Electronic now stops the bomb. Up close he falls though. 4 versus 2 turned 1v3 as Nico finds the kill in Connector, but now he needs the clutch.
Yeah. Chances between slim and none. They very nearly line up for him though. He wasn't too far off from picking up the frag onto Flamey. 18 health, bomb dropped just outside of Monster. Does do lots of damage to Flamey again, who's now down to 8. That Molotov gonna fend off this position, allowing Edward to go in from behind, and finally Na'Vi get themselves on the board. Yeah, a bit of a head-scratching moment though. I'm not sure if you caught that, Scrawny, but Modi just pushed through the smoke by himself on short, nowhere near the rest of his team, and just instantly died. It was bit of an odd play, to say the least. Maybe just trying to catch them off guard.
Yeah, he definitely just wanted to kind of charge up short, right? But that goes right into the hands of Zeus. Exactly. He was still holding back towards Graffiti. Had you had this double setup over towards Monster, or maybe the furthest position being the Toxic barrels, then Madi can get his way around the box. But Zeus is in a perfect spot that then stops him, makes him look kind of silly. Whereas it was an opening that could have been made, it was just closed down upon him, and now it's Na'Vi to try and convert, right? They have not had the economy built up behind them, especially using a double op setup in their first real buy, which means that this reset could be very costly. Big round coming forward here where Heroic could seriously cement themselves on the T side.
Yeah, this is a fulcrum point to this first half for sure. Both teams, it could be effectively a 2-for-1. But they're Simple. We'll take down the first. Both teams very low in terms of funds across the board. And as soon as Simple's AWP rattles out, they decide that Connector is the best sanctuary they can go for. Problem is though, apart from Connector, they really have no control over the map. Na'Vi looking good here.
Of course, with 3 smoke grenades still on Heroic, they can just fall back outside of Monster and go for a set piece on the B bomb site. Getting themselves a plant, couple of kills, maybe find yourself scrambled into an after plant as well. Essentially, you've lost your 5th man. You've lost all your map control. So you've just got to commit off to an execution. Maybe Yugi gets somebody overstepping these edges, but in reality, I feel like Na'Vi know this situation. They're just going to sit tight. Unless Flamey does go off of the flashbang, looking for a frag, and he nearly gets it.
Yeah, it was not far off at all. The problem here really for Heroic is no one's gone through the short side. They have no idea if the CT player is in there. They're going to be very one-dimensional when they push on the B site now. And in doing so, it's making so many angles apparent that Na'Vi can wreck them from. Flamey's doing so much work with 2 already. And he's not going to be on for a third because Zeus will nab that away from him. But again, Heroic was so one-dimensional going through Monster. It cost them dearly.
I mean, that's twice now we see them push into the B-bomb site. The last round having just used Maudie to kind of be that forerunner. And we saw him get mowed down. Essentially, no short control whatsoever, but at least you know that, say, Sandbags is clear, that the short alley itself is yours at the taking. This time, there is nothing other than a monster push. All 4 remaining players from Heroic trickling in, all 4 being denied entry, most notably from that op of Flamey. Very well done. Again, multi-frags early, but just versus Pistols, Flamey misses the first shot. Electronics here to support, and Zeus as well with 1 frag already, but still these Pistols dealing damage. 3 frags for them straight back, and that, of course, ensures a bomb plant. It's a bit of a shame that they don't get their hands on guns, and that the CTs are already nearby, but excuse me, Snappy's found an op.
And there should be an M4 somewhere as well that Electronic dropped around the barrels. And I think they'd realize this, but they don't want to move back into the opens where Heaven can strike. Nico now, CZ. Can he pull off a massive clutch that would put Na'Vi back on their back foot? Bomb taken away. Both players have utility and kits. They're trying to cordon off Nico. And it's not going to happen. Simple with his USP. His sidearm comes good. Na'Vi will get 3 in a row. But considering that Heroic came into that with just straight up pistols, 3 kills and a bomb plant, that is more than good enough from what they're expecting to get from there.
By all means. I mean, let's say, of course, maybe if Flamey is not positioned so forward, right there on the ramp on the bomb site itself, or if he had just been given a little bit more space to wrap around the pillar, maybe he does put up more of a fight and doesn't go down. But because Heroic just so fully commit so quickly at that, Electronics M4 as well, his mag went dry after trying to take down just the first player. Wasn't given much of an opportunity to bail out his teammates. So sure enough, they dealt damage, and early on, we're going to get Edward getting very aggressive here. He's got the support over his shoulder. Sees the flashbang go past, and down he goes. Simple with the kill on the op. Trades 1 for 1 with Nico, who does drop Edward. So forward footing lost, and because of that, they've actually reeled their player back in from connector, not wanting to offer EC Tag any kind of a duel, but rather just give him map control. Na'Vi to reposition towards long instead, so shaking up their setup.
Really like to see this. It will put doubt in Heroic's mind in future rounds. This is an important duel, and it's gone the way of Yugi. Simple peeking for a bit too long. The AWP does not connect. That is going to hurt Na'Vi. They're now very much split up across the map. It's just going to be Electronic all by his lonesome on B. More passive from Flamey on the site. And then Zeus up close and personal with his M4. He's about to see Yugi peeking around the corner, but Yugi somehow gets the drop on him. I was sure that was going to go the way of Zeus.
You would have thought, by all means. Yet now it's just left Flamey all alone. You see that movement coming in from Electronic, but he's been drawn back towards the B site because of the utility here from Maudie, doing a very good job of these late lurks towards that bomb site. We've seen it pan out when all of a sudden Heroic had to double back. And this is one of those rounds where, had they had more CTs against, they might do so. In fact, they could still fall back now knowing that Flamey's on the bomb site, but he actually drops the bomb. Now it's in the open. We're down into the teens as far as time, and yet it will not matter. EC Tag charges forward. They had him dead to rights. They even had him boxed in thanks to Maudie.
Absolutely, and they had to go for more of aggressive play because, as you highlighted, we were getting down towards 12, 13 seconds. They couldn't afford to play hide and seek on the bomb site any longer, but there's the frag. I mean, for me, that's the determining factor. If Zeus takes down long control already with low time, they could have just straight up choked Heroic out of that round. So that's a pretty poor duel to come out second best on. Simple does have an AWP. The rest of the team coming through with pistols. So going for this raid boss mentality right now. And Simple hasn't had a huge amount of impact in this game so far. He's not quite been the world beater that you expect.
Meticulous play coming in from Heroic up towards A. Again, I feel like moving forward, it's just going to be that classic Heroic T-side on overpass. Something that Launders argues Heroic pioneered in leaving that late lurk down towards that B bomb site, and Maudie does it so incredibly well. Individually speaking, he just has a great read on that B site. Tends to know exactly when to hit. Whenever Heroic feel the pressure, it'll be him to try and, you know, give them that emergency exit. Because as long as you have connector control on the T side of overpass, you can very quickly change direction. And it's for that reason that you're going to be leaving the CTs second-guessing themselves constantly if they don't have forward map control. And while we watched, of course, the electronic push monster once, that was in the pistol, and they haven't had the gall to do it again.
Oh, just a complete massacre. There's really nothing as simple as Zeus can hope to achieve from this round now. A save. All they're looking for is Zeus can maybe take down some players with him. Buy up enough time for Simple to scamper away. But Heroic will move to 6-3 in the lead on their T side. Zeus is going to take down one. That's going to be a Mach 10. Not ideal. But great start from the Danes. Plus Modi, of course, who is Swedish. Although I guess he's kind of Danish. He's lived there for a long time.
Closest one we've got, at least for this weekend.
You can see there, as I said before, Simple hasn't really been setting the world on fire, and 4 and 7, he has had a couple of AWPs in his hands as well. It's not as if he's been starved out this entire game. Just hasn't really had the level of impact that we're hoping to see. But he does have the AWP for one more round. And it's going to be accompanied by some M4s.
It's getting scary now for Navi CT side. Heroic on the cusp of running away with this. Again, we get that forward positioning from Edward, but in fact, Simple's left him alone towards A. And it's that early short aggression instead. So still using Simple as that kind of forerunner, trying to feel out multiple portions of the map now as he swings door wide open. This could allow for his teammates to maintain control of short and allow for him to double back towards A and help out Edward. Just alluded to the lack of map control from Navi. Never have they gotten into connector early on. Very rarely even towards short, but this is the round where that could all change.
This is ballsy play by Simple because someone pushes him. He wouldn't have seen while I was looking up the staircase. Decided to just back away. Fair chunk of the round has already came and gone. Neither team really vying for too much damage. Only Simple has taken 30. Other than that, everybody is very much healthy and alive.
Now, with no short control being in the hands of Heroic here, they never actually fully cleared out the staircase because ECTag decided to fall back with that door swung wide open. It's just going to be a committed long A play, and right now Navi with these two players pushed up into bathrooms, they could afford to just let this site slide. If they don't find an immediate opening, hold in for the retake. If you control short or bathrooms for a retake on the A site, you're good to go. But Modi finds Edward. That's the first frag of the round, despite us being very near the end of the clock, and never does he turn around. Simple just executed by ECTag. 5 versus 3 after plant, and now this plays perfectly into the hands of Heroic. They get their bathrooms after plant, despite not pushing that portion of the map on their execution.
And again, it's just a case that I don't know if there's lack of communication or what's going on with Na'Vi, but Simple's just sat in bathroom while his teammate dies on A, and he's just sat there still looking out at the backside of bathroom towards connector. He's the freest of kills for Heroic, the easiest of takes as well. I feel like you either need to, in this situation, the way Heroic are playing, either decide to just play very passive on the side together or play very aggressive together. But doing one and the other while all 5 players push you, you're just asking to lose these rounds now. Na'Vi need to adapt. I wouldn't mind a tactical timeout to be called right now, actually, and just try and figure out what the hell's been going wrong on this CT side.
I feel like you could definitely justify the timeout at this point. We're getting near double digits here for Heroic. Yet, of course, we are still going to watch buys trickle in from the Na'Vi team.
And there is the timeout.
Perfect.
Makes perfect sense to me. They won the 3 rounds, obviously, off the back of that 4-0 start with the double 4 spies. But then since then, it's been just one-way traffic for Heroic. They've been getting on sites very easily. Been getting the opening picks, no problems. Something drastic needs to change for Na'Vi here. I mean, you said yourself, they haven't really occupied connector. I think the only round I remember anyone going in connector was when they had the CZs in the second round. Yep. That was it, and that was Simple. Other than that, we haven't seen any, M4s in there, an AWP peak, nothing like that. We've only seen Simple and I think it was Edward push past Fountain one round. Edward missed his shot, he died, Simple went back. That's really the only aggression we've seen, and Overpass affords so many opportunities for the CTs to do whatever they want.
And I feel like even though, A has been in question because Heroic constantly go here, it's long A that we've really never even seen Na'Vi touch either. They've only been playing back behind the flower beds, not aggressively on that, say, forward bathrooms or tree control. And look at the footing it's affording a team like Heroic, who will be very active in taking whatever they can. I mean, another round whereby they're no longer even keeping eyes on Connector. They have no fear of it whatsoever. They are looking at the bomb site and the bomb site alone. This is near an identical setup to what we saw in the most previous round. Let's see if maybe this rotation up from B and the players on bathrooms can hold it off.
The difference is, this time, look at the CTs, they're clumped together. They are going to be playing together with the crossfire. The flashbang is going to completely destroy Zeus. It's going to be a 2-for-2 trade. Still went a hell of a lot better than previous round. And in the meanwhile, it's going to be Flamey who's rotating up. Can he land this frag? Not quite. Very close through the smoke. And that could be the moment that tips this round in Heroic's favor. The bomb is going to get planted on top of all the other woes. But it's that man Electronic that's still alive, and you feel when he's alive, there's a possibility, a potential for a clutch.
At this point, Maudi's been allocated towards party this entire time, so they know that nobody is coming in from behind. It is just going to be the retake off of the CT spawn. Flamey is just looking for some kind of an opening, but off of the flash, they'll peek. Or at least they opt to. Now, with a kill onto Flamey, Electronics trade back, gives him some footing, but this round's done for. So grab the AWP, try to move it along, but just moving along is not doing Na'Vi any favors now. This is going to be an 8-3 half so far. And quite honestly, Heroic show no signs of slowing down. I mean, sure enough, Na'Vi had a setup there towards the end of long that I think definitely could have held Heroic back. You could see the attention of all the players' bathrooms really coming in towards long, and I would say anticipating that committed four-man push. But it was Nico that just cracks it open with a 2K, and then most notably survives that duel versus Flamey. Had he mowed it into the 2 versus 2, of course, Maudie then has to come off of bathrooms to help out in the after plant, and it's a much more doable retake. But in this case, it's Heroics to win.
Yeah, take nothing away from Heroic. It's not a case that Na'Vi have just been terrible this game. Heroic have been playing really well. And that last round really shows it. I thought that Na'Vi actually, with that triple stack that they ended up on the site with, would really pull it off. But there we go. We're talking about aggression. Zeus comes in, double frag for him, looking for a third. And could be very close to landing it. There's Zeus leading by example. Those are the kind of plays we were waiting for. Bomb's been dropped. Now, Na'Vi, you've got to hold on to this round with both hands. And Zeus, he's on for the ace. He's got 11 health left. He's going to be denied by Yugi's dual Berettas. But surely he's done enough damage. Oh, what a shot by Yugi. Not just a beautiful shot, but now, is this clutch even possible? Oh, he's landed another one. That's unreal play by Yugi. And even though Heroic lose the round, that's 4 CTs have been wiped out with him. That's going to play hell with their economy.
Yeah, that's one of the rounds where, you know, Zeus gets a 3K and then Yugi just shuts down any kind of a real opportunity to cultivate that money, right? It's almost like a here, take it kind of situation. Resetting Na'Vi this late into the half would just then give Heroic that 10th round for sure. And you can see the buy just barely being strapped together here by Na'Vi. MP7, UMP, and still they keep up this aggression with a boost towards party, so it looks. Now, Simple being distracted by that man does take him. That's Yugi down. Spots another man over here towards short, but the shadow gives way to the shot, and the repeak's good. It's Simple on the multi-frag this time. With a 3K towards EC tag, he knows that Nico's there, and so he stays patient. It all pans out, and can he get the ace?
It's looking good, isn't it? Oh, the commentator's curse. I apologize, Simple, but very much like Zeus in the previous round, you did your job, and that AWP should get picked up as well. So Na'Vi, after, I think it's safe to say, a squeaky butt moment against Yugi in the previous round, have at least got 2 in a row. It's not going to reset them just yet. Solid work by Simple, aggressive.
That's just it, right? Aggression. Both rounds coming out of Na'Vi. I mean, we praise their individual level and their capability to step up, but it's hard to step up when you shy away from gunfights. You're at that point just playing responsively to whatever Heroic throw your way. And we said coming into this, Heroic, they love a good game of overpass. And I think that this T-side has certainly shown it. But it's at this point that Na'Vi could still finish strong on an 8-7 half. Knowing in mind, of course, that they were almost intentionally giving, or not intentionally, but like they were aware that they could be giving away rounds with the pattern that they were buying in the first 5 or so. This is a scenario where I'm sure they're not surprised to have found themselves in. Maybe once the gun rounds got going, they were hoping to get their feet beneath them, and it has taken a little longer, but it could still finish strong, and that's what's most important.
I like that cheeky little flashbang went in from Heroic. It's pretty standard, but ultimately it stops Simple from playing aggressively. And they realize at this point that the aggression is what's winning Na'Vi the rounds. When they go back to playing standard, they should have it, but Simple, you cannot factor in a beautiful smoke bang. And that's going to put Snappy in his place. Simple, you can see the difference in how he's playing now compared to before. It's almost like they've unleashed him and just said, just get as many kills as you possibly can, Simple. If you die, fair enough.
Yeah, I think Unleashed. Oh my goodness.
Get wrecked.
It's a beautiful day for wallbangs. Yugi, Stiko, clips aplenty. Unfortunately, Simple gets tethered up there inside of the washroom. Zeus to try and take his place.
Yeah, he's just trying to shoot in all the standard positions, Yugi. Why the hell not? They got so much time. They don't have to play possum, they don't have to play stealthy just yet. They have control over connector, but that being said, Electronic is moving his way around the back of the terrorist. This is vital information. It's unfortunate timing, though, that as he's pushing around the back, one's already making a move towards B.
Oh, this hack should catch the man out because they're confident it's clear. Sure enough, there's the bomb and finally dropped by Electronic. So individual plays have won them the last 2 rounds. Is it Electronic to step up? He gets his first, tries for the next, but it's EC Tag to cover the back and Madi to then fall towards Graffiti. 3 versus 2 with the plant now in, and Heroic trying to hold on, but it's going to be tough because EC Tag's all that's left over. 2 of these CTs tagged up slightly, but he's wary of the flank when in reality, they're all on site. And as they push up, they double peek and it takes them. 8-6 now, still favoring Heroic.
Yeah, he was just wishing he had a Molotov. That could have bought him up so much time, allowed him to rotate around Monster side even. Unfortunate that he's even in that position, but hey, credit to Na'Vi for bouncing back. 7-3 when the tactical timeout was called. Now, as you highlighted, the 8-7 scoreline, very much a possibility. Wouldn't be a great CT half by any stretch of the imagination, but a hell of a lot better than the alternative could have been. So it's going to be 4 UMPs and an AK. Still plenty of firepower that Heroic possess. And they may be thinking about a fast push, which would make sense considering their weaponry, but that's a solid Molotov to counteract the aggression, allowing Edward to move in position. They're going to line up for him and he gets a double spray. While flashbang, they pretty much just walk into his crosshair, conga lining their way to death. And he pieces back to the site. Only 1/3 of his health is gone and 2 players fall by his weight, but they're Simple as well, getting caught in connector. And an AWP trade hands to Heroic as well, Scrawny, so Heroic may not be done just yet on this half.
Things calm down for the time being. Heroic realizing, of course, that with 2 smokes and 2 Molotovs, they could still go for a nice little set piece into the B site, but they'll have to get past Zeus. A deep corner position, but if they were to push now, he's a little ambiguous here, not making up his mind as to exactly where he wants to stand, and confirmation with the nades. And Zeus stopping the first, stopping the second, the bomb included, so just Snappy now, 1v4, and that's it. Na'Vi with the 7th round, and while I think it's fair to say that's not a convincing CT side, at their most recent event, again, WESG, the most rounds they got on a CT side was 6, and yet they still came back to win all of those games. So if their CT side was ever in question, their T side shouldn't be. They're very, very strong on the offense, and so the question will become, obviously when Heroic can set the pace, where they're allowed to play their game on the T side, they played excellently. The moment Na'Vi start getting a little bit more curious and a little bit more aggressive, we watch rounds slide back the Na'Vi way. And now it's Na'Vi to set the precedent and tempo for an entire 15 rounds, if need be.
Wow, and one of the guys you'd want to have on form in that case, going through into the T side, the shot caller, Zeus, he's top fragging for Na'Vi. You know, we talked a lot about Simple, we talked a lot about Electronic, the firepower they possess. Zeus is currently 16 and 9, and he's a whole bunch of assists as well. So credit to him, man. He's been doing so much work, a lot of multi-frags as well, really impactful kills. Definitely a huge reason for why they were even this close in the first place.
Yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly when he got that multi-frag towards short. He's just simply leading by example. The moment he gets that one big round after the tack pause, we watch everybody step up, right? It bolsters your confidence when you see somebody win a round single-handedly. Reminds the rest of Na'Vi that they too can do it, and they certainly did. But right now it's the pistol they'll have to get past, and it's Electronic with a bit of utility, Kevlar for most, and a little bit of a late control here towards the stairs.
Heroic at least are filtering out, though. They have Yugi, he's already up on long, just having a quick peek. Players on short, 2 of them having a crossfire now. That safety net of the connector door has opened. So at least know that somebody's around there, but Zeus is playing mind games with them right now. This is where Yugi's going to try and take a little bit more control over his surroundings. Slow and steady wins the race as far as Na'Vi are concerned. Still, connector is very much theirs with the bomb in hand.
And that's something else that they've been doing as of late, is just going back to that very late execution style CS. They still have the smoke to do so. That one flashbang from Electronic was used to take back short control, and they do so pretty late into the round. We're nearing that minute mark. Smoke's going to go over towards Heaven. It's really Maudi's boost that's looking to make impact here in this round, or else they're just going to have to buy time for that rotation to come over. Shots rain out both ways, but the only one that connects is the headshot towards Zeus. So despite the bomb plant, it's a 5v4, and it's Nico's got the kit.
And they have a smoke as well. And they've also got themselves a second frag as Tag comes through with the headshot into Flamey. Position's pretty good for Na'Vi, though. Up close is Electronic with the Glock, but he's going to come out second best. Simple and Edward now. The weight of this round on their shoulders. It would be a huge round to pick up as well. Put them instead to start to take over this map. Simple has eyes on the bomb, but this is where the smoke is going to destroy him. He's going to tap through the smoke, though. There's the frag. Yugi answers right back, but there's only 8 health collectively between the 2 CTs, and Simple's missing every single shot. Just one would be enough. They're going to get the defuse in the smoke, and Simple's going to lay them to rest, but it's too little too late. Heroic will pick up the second pistol.
That's something that should never have happened. You could see him fire off even 4 or 5 shots just to the right of that second diffuser. EC Tag, having retrieved the kit off of Nico's corpse, gets it through. That's huge. I mean, Heroic, they need to justify the retake based on their setup towards that B site. You use Maudie boosted up, that gives you no control of Monster, no way to really stop any kind of a push, because the entrance to the bomb site is so close for a plant. And so if you don't get your retake, that's a problem, because your entire setup is based on coming through with that. And sure enough, they get it done. By the skin of their teeth, though.
Oh, yeah. Just a little bit more to the left, he would have had the diffuser, and the round would have been his. But he has the AK-47, got a whole bunch of frags in that second pistol. Oh, he hasn't checked to his right. Yugi's here. That could bait the rest of his teammates. He's gone in for one, but now Simple's like, hold on a second. There's a dude behind me. Connects the dome shot onto another couple of players, and suddenly Simple with 3 entries has made this round very, very doable. Heroic are reeling. They have no kit to retake with now.
Flame is going to try to position himself up close. This will skewer any kind of a retake attempt. This would distract them as well, allowing for the player on Dicebox to swing out. So Flamey is going to play first contact. Electronic should be able to trade if he doesn't get the kills, but an instant headshot changes everything. That's now footing for Maudie to work forward with. EC Tag clearing the site, leaves Edward and Simple in the after plant. Both players over towards bathrooms, and again the smoke on bomb, but Simple stops it then and there. Maudie trading with one of his own, leaves Edward up close, and he loses the gunfight. 4 HP the difference with still just enough time. Heroic get another through with barely any health.
Edward, oh no, man. How did that happen? I'm triggered just watching that.
And that's a situation where Simple's thinking to himself, like, how much more do I have to do?
Yeah.
I was that single AK. I was tasked with carrying us through the round, and I got 4 frags. And it's still not enough. Maudie bailing them out at that final moment, and yet Na'Vi still continued to buy, and justifiably so.
Oh yeah, it was only Simple that went for a full-on buy in the last round. So with another bomb plant, they're good to go. Full AK-47s, but a similar tactic to what we saw Edward go for. The hyper-aggression past Fountain is going to get Snappy a kill. It's very unlikely he'll escape from this, though. He's down to just 2 health. Surely he's not going to get out of this one. It's the great escape.
Oh.
How is he still alive?
He's just taunting them at this point. He actually lingers on, and it's at that point that he does go down. Edward, on low HP himself, could have been his next victim, but instead Edward now has 2, and we're back into a 3 versus 3, which leaves Heroic in a prime position to just fall back into your bomb sites. You've seen no contact towards B, and yet you could still just hold stuff off because of the damage that's been done. Sure enough, it's a 3v3, but there's obviously a significant health advantage for Heroic.
Oh, for sure. Especially considering Na'Vi are going to be clumped together as they try and execute. So all it takes, and we saw Zeus do this a couple of times, is even if you get flashbanged, hold down left click through one of these tunnels, you're probably going to get a couple of kills. especially when players are below 35 health. Simple going to be taking point with his AK. Through on short side. Time starting to tick down. ASTRO's seen at least one, and I believe he may have caught a glimpse of the second player as well. So intelligently, he backs away. He's waiting for the rotations to come into effect. It's all about Nico now. And how many frags can ASTRO put down before he inevitably falls? The answer is none. He didn't even do that much damage to Electronic either, but Modi is going to answer back from Graffiti. Time's still dwindling. The bomb's going to get forced down right here, right now, but he's pretty much stuck in the smoke. Huge frag by Simple. That actually could be the determining factor in this round, because now Modi has multiple angles to try and cover off by himself. He doesn't have a smoke or a flash either. He can't cordon off one of these areas. He's been spotted, but Electronic can't put him down. That being said, now the HP favors Na'Vi, and there's Simple. He's like, come on, guys. I've done so much on this half. Finally, we're going to get around.
That's incredible. 4 HP yet again, just like Modi from the last one on that A-bomb site defuse. And honestly, that comes down to EasyTag making first contact with the only player who still had full health. If he finds Modi, or rather, excuse me, the frontman instead, then instantly Na'Vi are down into the 2 versus 2. Bomb's not nearly as close to the site, and we have Heroic in a very difficult position. And yet Na'Vi, I think, played that 3 versus 3 fantastically. Step by step, surely, but, you know, slowly enough, they got themselves in there, and, oh, Yugi. A dirty deagle to kick it off. He falls back just in time to find safety there behind the corner. And so he could be good for another. He is. That's Zeus removed. And despite this just being pistols, only one player on Kevlar, we have Heroic in a 5 versus 3. And after starting to come back into these rounds, this would be an atrocious way to throw it. Yugi with 3 now.
This is going to be some Herculean throw if Na'Vi lose this round now. Take nothing away from Yugi. They're peeking him 1 by 1 against the Deagle. Na'Vi aren't out this just yet. As every bullet leaves one of these Deagles, you fear for Na'Vi's lives. You have a smoke, a flash, and a HE, and Flamey's took a bit of damage. It's a hit and run. Not sure about these angles either just yet. Modi's not far off. Gonna go down though. Yugi's missed his chance and he's gonna fall as well. The Deagle hero from previous moments is very much silenced. But there's tanks coming up, smoke in his eyes. Meanwhile, Snappy's making inroads, but Flamey with a beautiful crisp headshot. Surely that's the round now to Na'Vi. The CZ's rattling out, but there's Electronic. Now it's a 2-on-4. Na'Vi do just about hold on for dear life. But Yugi, take a bow. That was some serious Deagle work.
Yeah, a worrisome situation that Na'Vi were still able to reel back in. Oh, so nice. This one was the sketchy one that definitely could have cost him, and that would have kept this 3rd man alive, but at a distance even, Yugi finding some positioning. And I think what's really important is that Flamey denies the MP7 of Snappy. That was the man on Kevlar as well, so that bathroom's flank could have been very costly, especially the way that we saw the afterplant from Na'Vi get hurdled and corralled into that back corner of the A site. They had to bail themselves out, and they certainly did. But this one should be easy pickings. Barely any pistols, no Kevlar whatsoever, and already 2 frags here for Na'Vi. So dispatching of the defense one after another and starting to make back some of the bank that they lost in the most previous of rounds. Then again, Yugi's got a Deagle.
Pocket ball. Not able to land anything this time around. Roll even 10 apiece. Na'Vi have really been through war so far here on Overpass, as have Heroic, and now their backs are against the wall. They're going to come out swinging with a full-on buy, including an open hands of Yugi, as you'd expect with M4s. It is at the cost of no kits, though. Oh, in fact, pardon me, just Nico has one, but Yugi has no nades. So a little bit low in terms of the purchase, but they can definitely make this work.
If we saw Simple getting aggressive for op picks up towards A, then I think it's fair to assume Yugi will be doing the same thing. Trying to play proactively, positioning himself multiple places across the map, looking for those 5v4s. Because Overpass is one of those maps where if you can get a man advantage on the CT side and just reel yourself back into the bomb sites, it's a fantastic spot to be in. You've got fast rotation times, and so long as your opponents can't out-rotate you and use those fakes and mind games, you'll be pretty par for the course. Right now it's EasyTag I worry about. There's a player just on the other side, and this would open an avenue towards that B site hit.
What worries me as well, though, scoring is there's only one flashbang. We still have so much time left to play with in this round. Heroic have very little in terms of utility. It's going to have to come down to raw fragging power. If some stray bullets go through that tunnel, this tag's going to be a dead man. And I think he realizes he's just going to back away, play the passive angle instead. It's going to be hard for them to hold off, and Modi's got insta headshot. Beautiful entry. Nessa tags up to the plate, but kind of caught in two minds who he wants to go for fully. And it's just gone horribly wrong for Heroic in almost every single circumstance. They've come out second best in duels. And Yugi and Nico, they want no further part in this. They've got no nades to retake the site with. They're going to save. Na'Vi will take the lead.
I can't help but feel like if you're trying to go toe-to-toe with a team like Na'Vi, Heroic unfortunately just don't have the weight behind their fragging ability. And when you have no utility that late into the round, because you use it early on, sure enough, it staves off the execution from Na'Vi. But when they're allowed to walk straight in, not through smokes, not being hindered by flashbangs, you're trying to play aim battles. And I don't think that's a reliable strategy that Heroic should be trying to play versus the likes of Na'Vi. We saw how quickly Modi gets dispatched of over towards Toxic. It was just an instant crumbling of that B bomb site. And while it is convincing enough to leave Yugi and Nico better off than not trying desperately to clamor their way back in, but rather just keeping their guns into the next one, it's longevity now that is a problem here for Heroic. They had themselves a lead once upon a time, but it has been removed round after round as now Na'Vi find themselves back in the driving seat with, of course, that 1 point buffer. But with those two weapons moving forward from Heroic, it's Yugi and Nico to be unleashed.
And how the tides have turned. This is Na'Vi's first time in the lead in this entire map. Into the last third in round 22. And they're leading that first time. Nice confidence boost. Heroic really poor by just the saved weapons and a few pistols alongside it. Again, no nades to speak of. Snappy's going to play aggressively as a result. Always like to see this in these kind of rounds. Just going to try and take the fight to Na'Vi. It's an angle they may not check as well. They've had no presence in terms of Monster, so someone may just have a quick sneaky peek, but if they don't, Snappy could be on the cards for a hatful of frags here. And he's playing it very passively indeed. Is Electronic going to check it? Yes, he is, but he still gets decapitated anyway. Not quite a second frag on the cards for Snappy. Nice try, though.
Off of that, they are just going to start to flood the site. Unfortunately, Snappy not getting enough information early enough to call for the rotate, but still Yugi stops one. That was Flamey trying to go for a late cross, despite Zeus already being positioned inwards, and now we're down to the 4 versus 2. Sure enough, Modi gets cleared from the water, so that's more space back for Na'Vi. But it's the bomb that's pushing in. I worry now. Simple, where are you going? It's offered up. Edward now tasked the clutch, and he only finds one. That could have been a plant and a fallback from Edward, but instead, it's Simple to take the front line and Heroic to take the round.
The only thing I can think of there, well, two, is either Simple didn't realize he had the bomb, which is maybe potential possibility, the red mist descended, he wanted hyper aggression, or they thought that someone was going to be rotating around the back of them and planting was too dangerous. But if it's not one of those, I have no idea why he's pushing with the bomb, because as you say, you can change the pace. You dictate the pace of the round as soon as that bomb goes down. You go from being aggressive to defensive, and that can play in your favor. So it's a head-scratching moment, but we're all even again. Both teams with a solid buy.
Ooh, all right.
Rip.
Open door, blasted away, gives Flamey the opening headshot. Good grenade usage, really. Of course, leaves Heroic split 2-2, so they'll take an initiative here with Modi. He boosts up, finds one, and spots another. That's both footing and information gained.
Love that boost as well. You're typically expecting the boost to be to the right of where Zeus is now on that wooden panel. Not expecting it on the other side, but now Modi's been boosted on top of the site instead, and he will pluck out Zeus. Ballsy play, but works out for Heroic. Fortune favoring the Brave on this occasion. Round is still far from over yet, though.
I love to see B-site boosts from a CT team, just because as the offense, you can feel so comfortable with short control and players over towards Monster. Heroic not giving them that comfort, rather shaking it up a bit. Still with the utility, they are able to close the gap towards that bomb site, so the plant will shine through this time around. And it's going to be Heroic to try and retake with a man advantage. They've got, of course, 2 kits still in play, 2 flashbangs as well to try and dictate these engagements, but it's not like they can use fire to burn out the corners. They're not going to be able to smoke off the bomb and try to get a cheeky defuse as done twice already. They're going to have to hit the timing on the retake, and it's trying to come in with Connector, but that position's in question. Snappy's been pushed back here.
Which makes it so one-dimensional on the retake. It should be easier now for Na'Vi, but they're actually losing players at an alarmingly fast rate. It's all electronic now. Modi has a kit. He's actually stuck on top of it right now. He can't get to the bomb. This is so frustrating from his perspective. And Electronic is going to be able to clutch, but again, Na'Vi so close. It was a 3-on-4 against them, though, and they've somehow made it work. They regain the lead once again.
Now we're getting into these kinds of back and forth moments, but that instant reset versus the CTs is not a position they'd hope to be in. And poor Modi there, you can just see him, you know, arms outreached, millimeters away.
If only he's a little bit taller. You know, just about stuck onto that. Very close. It's actually Na'Vi calling the timeout.
I think this is a great time to call the timeout, just because you know you have your opponents against the ropes, right? Blood in the water type situation whereby they're instantly reset. If they are going to come in with a force buy in this round, which currently they have opted not to, they will just be picking up some deagles instead. Had all the economy been on the table, then this is that soul-crushing round, right? Na'Vi get to 13. You've got nothing left over in the coffers of Heroic, and that's the then 14th and maybe finish line secured. But Heroic playing a little bit more patient, and I like that. I feel like they are one of the teams to make calculated and accurate decisions.
And Yuki has a deagle, and we've already seen what he's capable of doing. That Molotov is going to stop him from pushing, though. Heavy presence in Connector. All 5 players around that location. I believe we do have a boost as well. In the meanwhile, Snappy boosted over. So, just all going in mid and hoping for the best, but Na'Vi are moving on the outskirts of the map. They're going to Monster. They're going to get a free B plant now. I like what Heroic went for, but Na'Vi have read it to perfection. Completely counteracting all of the positions that Heroic are currently in.
Yeah, I mean, circumventing a 3-man boost is always good way to work things out, and unfortunately for the CTs, they're going to get burned out of that corner. Fire just raining down upon them. Gunfire follows suit, and it's done for.
That's, of course, one of the downsides about boosting that.
Yeah.
You are going to get wrecked by flames. But it's not as if Heroic had much into this round, just 2 deagles. It's all about the next one. Nico, seeing if he can salvage something out of this dire situation. Na'Vi will take a 2-round lead. And it's one hell of a time for Na'Vi to start to get into winning ways. You know, they were trailing this entire map from the very beginning. But now they pretty much are within reaching distance to that finish line and taking this best of 1 for themselves. And they would be playing against Gambit later on. That's one hell of a prospect of a match.
The stars have aligned.
Sure have. They're not there just yet, though.
Very true. Still some time left in this one, and because of that conservative decision in the last round, we do have Yugi back on his op. Sure enough, only 1 M4, but at least they've got some utility, and that's been a problem before. Can they get the opening pick? Snoppy gets opening position, and oh my goodness, the damage, but damage isn't enough. Simple still able to stop him. Nico with an off angle, then finds 1 frag towards Connector and doubles down. Gets the reload in just a moment too late, so Electronic trades, and it's Yugi up close now, right through the corpse. Skewers Electronic, pushes this back into the 2 versus 2 now, because Simple responds as well. And despite these ops finding frags, they just can't find each other.
This is where that nade really starts to pay off for Heroic. It's the 2 players that got wrecked by it earlier on, Zeus and Simple, that are all that remain. Zeus is still going to come up with a kill, though. This is now opening up options. Modi has already called that it's going to be more than likely the B-sided push. But Na'Vi have so much time to play with. They can easily just wrap their way back towards the A site. This could all just come down to timing as far as Modi's concerned. If he's in the right place at the right time, this round could be his.
With so much time left over, I like the decision here to kind of leave Simple on his own. Put him in a position to at least get some info and get some safety net constructed for Zeus. Of course, the problem is being its false confidence. Right now, Zeus is kind of, coming in. And Modi comes into his death, tries to push up short. Simple's having none of it. Drops him back and gets Na'Vi to 14. So we see a real clash in that round, going back and forth. Yugi really getting the top of the staircase under control, forcing Navi's hand down towards that B site. But like you said, that grenade could have seriously come back to hurt them.
Oh, yeah.
Ultimately, it's still not enough.
I didn't see that from Simple's perspective, but I have a feeling that was one hell of a shot from him. It looked like it was a real quick reaction shot. I was watching from Modi there. So now it's the turn of Heroic to call the timeout. Try and rummage together a master plan. 3, in fact 4 of them make that around $2,000 to $2,500. Their options are limited to say the least. And we have got some pistols being purchased. Nico is the man with the most money, and he's gone for P250s. They're playing ultimately for the overtime. They're playing for the longer game here. They're not going all in on this one.
I feel like if you're already in double digits, that's definitely the way to go.
Sure, I respect this. I think a lot of teams would just panic force buy, and it would cost them dearly, but Heroic could even come out of this with a win. We've seen the CZs, the P250s come good before. They've gone for another stack over on the B side, and Connector is not going to pay off for them. This time Na'Vi going the other extremity. It's on long this time, so you kind of feel bad for Heroic to an extent, but that's just the way it goes. It's a great call again from Zeus. This spots Yugi out at no man's land, chilling by the wall. Will put him out of his misery.
Zeus should be able to clean up this flank around from Heroic once he spots it. Already going to be 2 players out. Actually, he doesn't know the man's up close, or does he? No, Nico finds him. So an AK for Nico if he wants to walk away, or additional damage, depending on how they want to play this. But I would definitely give props to Zeus on that one. Like you said, changing things up entirely in these anti-ecos from one far extremity to the opposite side, keeping up that same pace as well. So even if, of course, Heroic had gone for an early stack and tried to change directions once they feel like something's amiss, it would have been on that bomb site still in time.
Glad to see Nico save the AK as well. I mean, first off, a lot of players do just straight up prefer the AK over the M4. But secondly, this affords one of them now to get a full buy with full nades and a kit and not have to want for anything. And he was one of the players, actually. I think he had the most money on his team, so he's probably going to drop that across to somebody, maybe even purchase an AWP. Yep, that's exactly what he's doing. So he's going to drop the AWP to Yugi, keeps the AK-47. Still has over 2K to buy nades with. He's good to go.
You could say that about Heroic through and through, pretty much, barring, of course, the kits.
But without that save, they would not have had an AWP right now, or at least it would have been a glass cannon AWP. So that's the importance of saving the AK.
A little bit of wallbang slows Na'Vi down, but they're still hungry for the hunt. Of course, it's Simple, most notably on the forefront. Oh, but he misses his shot. That would have been a crucial 5 versus 4. Could have been the trigger then for Na'Vi to start really getting this B-site execution underway. You can see them starting to piece it together. And I can't help but feel like Edward will be tasked to wrap back and grab bomb once need be. But right now they've gotten their short control, right? Na'Vi at this point can just leave Electronic close to the wall where those boosts from Heroic, which have been used in the past, can't clear him out. And they can start clearing out the sides of the A bomb site. So if they have full map control, that's when you really tend to lean towards the T side, because no rotations, no way to slow down and execute. Na'Vi are going to be in a prime spot if they can get past EC tag, but those two can. Zeus and Flamey down, and now Heroic with a very real chance to keep this game rolling.
Oh, you definitely favor them. They were in a great shape. Tag can just stay in position. He's got a lot of cover from the rest of his teammates. He's actually going to have Snappy that pushed in as well, but they just go peeking out one by one, giving their lives away for free. They had the advantage. They had the positional advantage. And now Electronic's just going to barrel through for another kill. 3 entries, making a 4th. Electronic is exploding in this round. And Na'Vi could be on the brink of a victory now. It's all down to Nico. He's been spotted, and Electronic is not going to get the ace. But Edward takes it away. It doesn't matter in the end. Na'Vi will take it 16-11 after a really rocky start. I mean,
crucial rounds from Na'Vi all boil down to those individual plays. After the tactical timeout, we watched Zeus step up inside of short. The following round, it's Simple, of course, with that AWP towards Party. And getting those rounds on the board towards the later stages of their CT side were crucial. It gave them enough of a buffer then to come into the T side confidently, and in these moments where they need to really close things down, shut out Heroic before they get within that 2-range comeback. Here we have it. Electronic with an incredible entry frag straight through Monster in a 3 versus 5 nonetheless.
Yeah, and we saw it a few times where Heroic were in such good positions, but then just suddenly Electronic, Zeus, Simple, one of these guys erupted, and the individual talent and skill just took them through to the round win. Another day, I genuinely believe that Heroic could have won that match. I think there were 2 or 3 rounds in particular that stand out to me that really shifted the momentum of that game in Na'Vi's favor.
Definitely, by all means. Whenever we see this kind of massive individual step up, it was always coming from the side of Na'Vi. I think barring a round from Yugi when he himself went off with an AWP. But outside of that, I think we chalked up this game to individual level, and Heroic just couldn't keep up.
That's us done. We're going to head to Parla on the stage for an interview.
That's right, Vince. I'm stood next to a fan favorite, of course, Simple. Give us a rundown of that match and how it went from your perspective.
It was a hard match, but maybe it was a bit harder because of delay of some TeamSpeak problems before. We started losing 5-0 or something like this. We was a little bit shaky because it's our first game at LAN with Electronic. But after we said that we need to still be focused, keep our control, and everything was great. It was some unlucky rounds for T-side at the beginning for us, but we managed to win this, and good game to Heroic.
Why do you think you went down originally at the start of the match? I think you got 7 rounds on the CT side, and then coming round to the T side, you managed to find your pace again.
First, our mistake was forced buy on the 4th round. So we played with Deagles and CZs. We lost this round. They destroyed our economy. And the other mistake was, some crucial rounds when they did first pick, when Jugi killed me on toilet, for example. It was some unlucky rounds by us.
Simple, let's talk a bit about your team, Na'Vi. It's been quite rocky recently. Where would you say you guys are at now, skill level, and what preparation has gone into this event?
So we had preparation before WESC for 1.5 weeks. Then after we come back, we practiced for 2-3 days. We practiced really good with our roster. So we only practiced like 5 maps. We need 2 more maps to play on Tier 1 level. So this tournament is preparation before major qualifiers because our main goal is to win major. To show great results with major with new roster.
Do you feel the addition of Electronic has been a big boost for you and your team?
Yeah, he really helped us. I don't know, when he came to our team, we just got something that we didn't have before. So he really helps us a lot as well with nades, a lot nades. So it's more easy to do structure for our team. And he's a great player, so I'm really happy that he's in our team.
Final thing then, Simple. Now you go on to play against Gambit. What does that mean and how do you feel about that matchup?
For me, it didn't mean anything. It's like our enemy for next game. But I guess for Kane and Zeus means something, so I guess they just want to beat them because what happened in past between them, it's their business.
All right, well, I think Simple is saying he's going to leave it all on the battlefield, and best of luck for later today. Thank you so much. Let's head back to Stunner and the guys on the desk.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. That man right there boasting almost a 90.5 ADR across the map, putting in work for his team and not as sincere. Simple with the AWP, a force to be reckoned with. And I guess we could actually just start this conversation off by talking about Electronic. I think that would be a good talking point.
He left us off on that last round in a pretty nice place, right, with those 4 kills just cracking open the B site. But until we got to that point, it wasn't that he was underwhelming by any means. It did seem like a bit of a struggle for Na'Vi to get off the blocks, right? There was a few rounds Simple definitely touched on them. They started 4-0 down in the first half, 2-0 down in the second, so not winning any pistol, then to still win the game in that fashion is pretty promising. But you just have to reflect on some of the things not going their way. Simple in the 2v1, spamming through the smoke, right, with the guy on the bomb on red HP. Just if he moved his crosshair a tiny bit to left, he would have won that round. Next round, he rolls it in with the AK-47 up to the A bomb site, takes 4 players, and I think it was Flamey left in the 1v1 against the player defusing the smoke. Unable to capitalize there. If those rounds had gone their way, then I think Na'Vi would have run away with that T-side economy. My biggest concern was their CT side and not being assertive. They were just getting dictated to. Yugi finding openings, they were just getting the defaulted on. And I don't know if it's Peacemaker, I don't know who was making the calls, but the guys from Heroic, their decision-making early was good. They were just deciding where they wanted to go and just went and just made the frags. Simple as that.
Yeah, simple as that.
I totally agree. The CT side was definitely not promising for Na'Vi, and I think that's a point where
it should be for other teams, you know, looking into this new Na'Vi roster. That's probably going to be the weak point, you know. It's always easy or easier to get a flowing T-side, you know, when you have a new guy coming in. Whereas your CT side, it requires a lot of team play, it requires a lot of setups, it requires understanding of where each other are at the pressure situation. And I think that's going to be a problem for Na'Vi in this tournament. And to be completely honest with you, I'm a little bit worried on their behalf after this game. You know, you're right, you know, a lot of rounds could have gone Na'Vi's way, but on the other hand, a lot of rounds could have gone Heroic's way, you know.
Sure.
That CT side could have been completely horrible. It could have been like a 3-round CT side, potentially, if Heroic had won some of those clutches.
I think it's funny, like out of the interview there with Parla, that Simple's saying that Electronic brings a lot of nades. Like, this is the thing, right? Every team gets to that point, and especially when you have guys that have been around forever, like Zeus and Edward, they're not sitting in a server anymore, running around, coming up with all the nades. Electronic's one of these young kids, and he was under Blade. He's doing that in his spare time, right? He's deathmatching, then he's jumping in a server for an hour, hour and a half. I used to label it like geeking it up, like when we were in the Renegades Vox days, and nobody wanted to do that even with us. So the fact that you can have that new life, someone with a few new ideas, definitely helps, you know, have a revitalized look on the T side, having a few new ideas.
Yeah, he probably stole a lot of stuff from Blade, you know, on flip side. You know, he's one of those guys who goes really deep into that stuff, and that's something you have to give credit to Blade, you know, and Electronic have probably picked up a smoke or two.
Well, somebody does have to nerd it up, right?
Yeah.
Somebody has to be the nerd on the team that ultimately says, hey, you know what? Check out this pot flash. Boom, gotcha. But let's go ahead and check out these numbers, though, as they stand. We do have the statistics from this best of one and overpass between Natus Vincere and Heroic loaded up here. And, well, you're going to be pleasantly not surprised to see Simple leading there. 29 frags across the board. And ultimately, Chad, talk to me about what we see.
Something else to note, I think, is, right, you can see Flamey there with not too many frags, but his impact early for Na'Vi on their CT side with the AWP towards the B bomb site was the only reason that they got like 2 rounds on the board early, right? I think over the course of those rounds, he made maybe 6 frags, right? So he had impact, and we learned who the secondary AWPer for this squad's going to be early, which is, it's interesting. I didn't know where it was going to lie. I didn't know who was going to pick it up, but we've learned that from Flamey. And then you cross over, you can see that the Heroic guys, S-Tag and Snappy, didn't have a huge amount of impact, but Yugi, as usual with the AWP, he was getting a lot done. Had a couple of nice shots there. He had that wall bang onto Simple. He's always consistent, and I think now he's actually showing that he can do it on land more and more the more experience he gets. I think, you know, the problem is, maybe we could argue North need an AWPer. You know, they could have a dedicated AWPer, so Mertz or Yugi could be coming up for them if they can't have any new results going into the new year. New? Good results, not new.
Good results.
New good results.
New good results.
Yeah.
It's got a nice little ring.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to close it out. Either way, we do have one best of one left. We're going to have Envious and Big squaring off on one map as we determine who's going on to the winners matches here as we do come to a close of the day. 2 more best of ones.
Hey, we got a lot of Counter-Strike left.
That's 2 more best of ones. And provided there are no more breaks, then perhaps we will go ahead and skate on by with those. Now, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to our friends at Sliver.tv. Head over there and check out the technology that they are putting together. And, well, for all intents and purposes, let's just have a little walkthrough ourselves.
Watch CS:GO and win free prizes. First, sign up with Steam. Then, as you watch CS